For the first time, Reese, Clark, and Bueckers trained together under the USA basketball banner, a moment fans could hardly believe even as the footage lit up their feeds. What made it remarkable wasn't just their combined talent, but the timing. With Olympic cycles and global tournaments ahead, their early collaboration suggests a long-term game plan that extends far beyond highlight reels.
If you're here for the real story and not the filtered version, subscribe. And if you're sticking around for the next meltdown, you better definitely subscribe.
This convergence of star power is no accident. USA Basketball, under Sue Bird's executive direction and Cheryl Reeves' coaching leadership, is building a roster that isn't just strong, it's future-proof. The presence of both rising talents and established veterans ensures a deep, flexible squad designed to outlast global competition. For fans, the viral video was a thrilling glimpse into what's coming. For the program, it was a strategic milestone in preparing for a world stage where every possession matters. It only took a few seconds of footage. Caitlin Clark pulling up from deep, Angel Reese cleaning up on the glass, Paige Bueckers directing traffic like she's been running this team for years for the internet to lose it. One video, shot inside the USA Basketball Senior National Team camp at Duke, was all it took to send fans into a frenzy. And honestly, it makes sense, because this wasn't just a flashy highlight reel. This was a major moment in the history of women's basketball. For the first time, Clark, Reese, and Bueckers, three of the sport's most recognizable, talked about, and dissected players, were not opponents. They were teammates, not college rivals, not trending names in separate storylines, but united, wearing USA on their jerseys, on the same court, under the same system. And it wasn't some symbolic PR move. This was part of an elite training environment with a very real goal: shaping the future of the U.S. women's national team. The camp, hosted at Duke University, was part of USA Basketball's intense evaluation process for the 2026 FIBA Women's World Cup. It was orchestrated by Cheryl Reeves, one of the most respected coaches in the sport, and backed by a full lineup of top WNBA coaching talent. The goal? Assemble the most competitive roster possible to defend the U.S. title on the world stage. And that means testing everything: skill, chemistry, leadership, mental strength. This is not a casual get-together. This is a battlefield for future dominance. But the headlines weren't just about who might make the final cut. The sheer fact that Clark, Reese, and Bueckers were training together was enough to shake up the internet. It's the kind of convergence that fans have been dreaming about, and it finally happened, not in a hypothetical video game roster, but in real life. In drills, in scrimmages, in systems designed to replicate the intensity of international competition. The response was instant. Clips from the camp started surfacing, and social media exploded. Not because it was surprising these three were good, they've always been good, but because this was the first time the public got a glimpse of them operating as part of the same unit. The potential was obvious. Their chemistry? Already promising. Their impact? Immediate. And that impact goes far beyond likes and retweets. The buzz around this video is just one piece of a much larger movement. Women's basketball has been building momentum for years, through packed college games, viral highlights, growing WNBA storylines. And now, it's reaching a critical mass. This video didn't create the hype. It confirmed that it was already there. The fact that this training session could make global headlines speaks volumes about how far the sport has come. The appetite for women's sports content is real. The engagement isn't just performative. It's driven by talent, storylines, and the quality of play. These athletes aren't growing the game quietly anymore. They're redefining what the game is. And USA Basketball knows exactly what it's doing. This camp didn't just happen in a vacuum. It's part of a bigger, calculated plan under the guidance of Sue Bird, who's now helping lead the program off the court after dominating on it for decades. The message is clear. It's time to invest in the future while learning from the past. Bringing in both established veterans and rising stars is no accident. It's a strategy. Veterans like Chelsea Gray, Kelsey Plum, and Brittany Griner brought championship experience to the court. They've been through the highs and lows of international competition. They know the demands of a global tournament. But now, They're sharing that space with the next generation. Players like Aaliyah Boston, Angel Reese, Paige Bueckers, and Caitlin Clark, who represent the future of sport. This blend of leadership and youth is exactly how dynasties are maintained. The camp served as a blueprint for succession planning, not just picking the best players now, but building a pipeline that ensures the U.S. stays on top for years to come. And that means development, not just dominance. It means creating an environment where talent can be evaluated, tested, and sharpened, where chemistry is built and roles are defined, where stars learn to become teammates, where egos are set aside in favor of shared mission. And make no mistake, that mission is global. The United States has led women's basketball for years, but other countries are catching up. International teams have evolved. They've studied the U.S. model. They've started developing talent earlier, investing in infrastructure, building systems. The pressure to stay ahead is real. This isn't about showing up and coasting to another gold. This is about competing against the world with the world watching, which is why this camp and the viral attention it received is so important. It sends a message that the U.S. is not just trying to stay on top, but deserves to stay on top. And it also proves something else. When given the platform, women's basketball thrives. And two, the video didn't go viral because it was a novelty. It went viral because it was good basketball. It was talent meeting opportunity. It was stars doing what they do best, on a bigger stage with bigger stakes. That kind of visibility matters. It opens doors. It challenges networks to give more airtime. It gives sponsors reason to invest. It inspires young players to dream bigger. It also helps change the global perception of what women's basketball looks like. The game is faster, sharper, and more competitive than ever before. The skill gap has narrowed. The highlight moments aren't just comparable to men's basketball. They're often just as entertaining, just as strategic, just as compelling. This camp was also a coaching showcase. Cheryl Reeve, supported by some of the most elite minds in the WNBA, brought a level of detail and discipline that reflected just how seriously the Federation takes this cycle. They're not experimenting. They're engineering. They're observing every cut, every rotation, every decision under pressure. The evaluation isn't just about who scores. It's about who fits. Because that's what wins international tournaments. Team cohesion, mental endurance, strategic versatility, a unified vision. And that's what this camp is trying to build. Not just a team of stars, but a star team. And that brings us back to Clark, Reese, and Bueckers. Yes, they went viral. Yes, they looked amazing. But they also bought in. They showed up not as headline machines, but as athletes ready to be part of something bigger. That's what separates hype from history. And in this case, they're on the path to making both. The goal isn't a trend. The goal is to win. But when trending and winning start overlapping, that's when the sport changes. So what happens now? The qualifiers start in March 2024. That's when the roster starts to take shape. That's when all of this training turns into results. And it's going to be competitive. Every spot will be earned. Every minute will be contested. But thanks to this camp and that now legendary video, fans will be watching the process unfold in real time. And if what we've seen so far is any indication, the future of women's basketball isn't coming. It's already here. Drop your thoughts below. Who do you think makes the final roster? Who impressed you most in the camp footage? And how do you see this team stacking up against the world in 2026? Hit like if you're as hyped as we are, subscribe for more drama-packed breakdowns, and don't forget to share this with someone who still doesn't get the hype. Because after this camp, there's no excuse not to. It's almost surreal to think a practice video could carry this much weight, but that's exactly where we are. When the footage of Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and Paige Bueckers training together at the USA Basketball Senior National Team Camp hit the internet, it felt less like a behind-the-scenes look and more like a cultural reset. And people felt it. This wasn't just a glimpse into how the sausage gets made. This was history being written in real time. Because for years, women's basketball fans have waited for this moment. The point where individual stardom transforms into collective power. And now it's finally here. Clark's deep threes, Reese's intensity in the paint, Bueckers' control and calm under pressure. It was all there, and it wasn't for show. it was for legacy. The magnitude of this camp wasn't lost on the athletes or the coaches. Held at Duke University and led by Cheryl Reeve, a name synonymous with championship-level coaching. The camp was one of the first official steps toward assembling the roster that will represent Team USA at the 2026 FIBA Women's World Cup. And make no mistake, this isn't just about medals. It's about maintaining global dominance. It's about staying ahead of the competition, not just meeting it. So yes, the viral video was a spark, but what it revealed was even bigger. For the first time, we're seeing how USA basketball is intentionally bridging the gap between the legends who built this empire and the new generation that's going to keep it alive. That mix of youth and veteran leadership is not just strategic, it's essential. Because if there's one thing international basketball teaches you, it's that talent alone doesn't win. Chemistry does. Experience does. And the best programs know how to build both at once. This is exactly why you saw names like Chelsea Gray, Kelsey Plum, and Brittany Griner in the gym alongside Clark, Reese, and Bueckers. These aren't just veterans. They're cornerstone players, champions, leaders. They've done the hard work, played under pressure, and lifted trophies. And now, they're showing the next wave what it takes to wear USA across your chest on the biggest stages. Angel Reese's presence in this environment is particularly significant. She's been a lightning rod for attention, a force in the NCAA, and someone who brings edge, fire, and physicality. But in this camp, she wasn't the face of a college rivalry. She was part of a system. And what stood out was her fit, her rebounding, her timing, her ability to impact both ends of the floor. In international play, where possessions matter more and every rebound can swing a game, players like Reese are gold. Then there's Caitlin Clark, arguably the most watched player in women's basketball over the past year. Her range is almost mythical at this point, but this camp wasn't about solo highlights. It was about how she fits into a team concept, how she moves off the ball, how she defends, how she adjusts to international pace. And based on what we've seen, she's adjusting fast. The way she reads the floor, her ability to create spacing, and her passing IQ all stood out. It's not just about her scoring. It's how she makes everyone around her better. Paige Bueckers, meanwhile, showed exactly why she's considered one of the most well-rounded guards in the game. Her command of tempo, her defensive reads, her poise under pressure, those qualities translate seamlessly to international play. She's not loud about it, but she's present. And in camps like this, presence matters. She looks like someone who's been playing in this system for years, and yet this is her senior national team debut. That's the kind of upside USA basketball is betting on. And the person overseeing all of this? Sue Bird. Her role in helping steer USA basketball's long-term vision cannot be overstated. She's walked this road before, multiple times. She knows what it takes not just to make a team like this, but to keep it dominant for years. Under her guidance, this isn't just a talent showcase. It's a multi-year plan. She's helping design a program that doesn't just react to changes in the global game. It leads them. This level of structure is what separates Team USA from the rest. The camp wasn't thrown together for media buzz. It was meticulous. Every drill, every scrimmage, every film session was designed to reveal something. How players communicate, how they respond to feedback, how they handle pressure. It's the kind of environment where stars become leaders and potential becomes reliability. And while the internet was busy marveling at the footage, other countries were watching too. Don't forget, the global basketball community pays close attention to what Team USA is doing. They study these camps, they scout these athletes, they take notes. The U.S. has long been the standard, but that standard has to keep rising. You can bet other nations are already tweaking their programs based on what they saw from this camp. That's the beauty and the burden of being on top. You can't ever relax. And that's why camps like this are so crucial. Not just for performance, but for perception. The U.S. isn't just showing that it has the talent. It's showing that it knows how to develop it, integrate it, and elevate it. And let's talk about visibility, because this video going viral isn't just some fun moment. It's a cultural shift. People used to ask how to get more eyes on women's basketball. The answer? Moments like this. Raw, authentic, elite-level basketball being played and seen. Not packaged, not polished, just real talent in motion. That's what gets people invested. That's what turns casuals into fans. The media coverage around this camp also shows how much the narrative is evolving. No one's asking whether these players can hang with the pros anymore. They're the pros. The conversations now are about strategy, fit, chemistry, real basketball analysis. And that's where the sport should be. The commercial potential is growing, too. With athletes like Clark, Reese, and Bueckers leading the next wave, and legacy names still active, women's basketball has never been more marketable. These aren't just players. They're brands, storytellers, and cultural forces. That crossover appeal means bigger broadcasts, better sponsorships, and more investment. Not just in players, but in infrastructure, youth development, and global visibility. Which brings us to the bigger picture. This training camp wasn't a one-time event. It was a foundation. A critical early step toward the 2026 World Cup. Yes, but also the 2028 Olympics and beyond. It's part of a plan to make sure that women's basketball doesn't just sustain its momentum, it scales it. The inclusion of younger players like Bueckers and Clark isn't about token gestures. It's about intentional succession. Cheryl Reeve and Sue Bird are building continuity. They're making sure that when this team takes the floor in international tournaments, it's not scrambling to figure itself out. It's already a machine. One that runs on trust, chemistry, and preparation. And fans are recognizing that. The energy around this camp wasn't just hype, it was respect. Real, earned, overdue respect. The kind that comes when people finally understand that what they're seeing isn't a novelty. It's elite competition. So when that training footage dropped and the world took notice, it wasn't just about Clark draining a three or Reese crashing the boards. It was about a sport stepping into the spotlight it's always deserved. A spotlight that's only going to grow brighter. There's something different in the air now, and everyone can feel it. When a training camp video sends shockwaves through social media, newsrooms, and group chats, that's not just a viral moment. That's a sign of a sport tipping into a new era. Because let's be honest, how often does raw practice footage become a cultural talking point? That's the power Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and Paige Bueckers brought to the USA Basketball Senior National Team Camp. The moment they stepped onto the same court, it became more than an evaluation session. It became a message to fans, to critics, to every federation around the world. Women's basketball is no longer just rising. It's arrived, and it's evolving in real time. And let's be real, it didn't just happen out of nowhere. This viral camp footage wasn't a surprise drop. It was the result of years of momentum building behind these athletes. Caitlin Clark didn't just show up one day with a jump shot that hits from the parking lot. She's been lighting up college basketball and smashing viewership records along the way. Angel Reese didn't just stumble into dominance. She built her brand on rebounding, relentless energy, and a confidence that commands the floor. Paige Bueckers? She was already on magazine covers before she ever played a college game. Each of them has carried the weight of expectations, hype, and scrutiny, and they've delivered. But now the dynamic is shifting. They're not being evaluated as individuals anymore. They're being evaluated together within the framework of a national team. And that's what makes this moment feel so electric. Because they've moved from being standout stars in their own lanes to being part of something collective. Structured. Strategic. That's the Cheryl Reeve effect. As head coach, Reeve isn't just picking the best names on paper. She's building a system. She's looking at team identity. Who complements who communicates, who leads when things get tight, and who can carry the weight of international pressure while still buying into the team-first mentality that wins titles. Not just for a season, but for an entire Olympic cycle. And this cycle? It's already stacked. From seasoned champions like Brittany Griner and Chelsea Gray, to rising pros like Aaliyah Boston, the depth is unbelievable. But the integration of young talent like Bueckers, Reese, and Clark isn't just refreshing, it's necessary. Because USA Basketball isn't just trying to win the 2026 World Cup. They're setting the tone for the next decade. You could see it in how the players approach camp. No ego, No entitlement, just hard work, competition, and a hunger to earn it. That's what makes this new generation so exciting. They're not asking for respect, they're taking it. And they're doing it in front of coaches, legends, and teammates who've already climbed the mountain, too. But here's the twist. It's not just the players evolving. It's the audience, too. Fans are no longer content with surface-level coverage. They want roster analysis, coaching insight, behind-the-scenes breakdowns. They want to understand the game, not just watch it. And camps like this, especially when they get viral attention, pull back the curtain and reveal just how deep and complex this process really is. It's not just about who makes the highlight reel. It's about who makes the right rotation, who anticipates a switch, who communicates on defense, who knows when to pass versus when to score. The little things, the things that win gold medals. And it's in this kind of environment that real stars emerge, not just the flashy kind, but the reliable kind. That's why the camp matters, because it's setting the standard not just for what fans should expect, but what players should aspire to. And the fact that fans are following it this closely, reacting to every clip, every combo, every moment, that shows just how far the sport has come. Women's basketball isn't being sold anymore. It's being demanded. And USA Basketball has recognized that. They're not just focused on player development. They're investing in visibility. They know that the way to grow the sport isn't to ask people to care. It's to give them a product that commands attention. And a trio of Clark, Reese, and Bueckers training together, that's a product people are watching in real time, reshaping the narrative as they go. So what comes next? The qualifiers in 2024 are the next checkpoint. Rosters will be trimmed. Roles will be defined. The pressure will intensify. But the foundation that was set at this camp will carry forward. The habits, the relationships, the vision. It's all in motion now. And fans will be watching it every step of the way. If this camp showed us anything, it's that the hype is no longer ahead of the game. The game is the hype. And we're just getting started. If you're here for it, let us know in the comments. Who do you think has to be on that 2026 roster? What combo are you most excited to see? Hit that like button if you've been following this new era. Subscribe to stay looped in on every drop of drama. And share it with someone who needs to see what elite women's basketball really looks like. Because after this, there's no going back.